He'll fling it. Oh! That's going to count!
I wasn't expecting him to have the success that he had, but it was a very nice surprise.
Con has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Anybody inquire about that number 2 pick?
We need contributions from other people.
Who else has got to step up?
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get to a different spark.
Who do you think is the number 1 player?
Happy Hump Day. It means MLL Press Pass Day.
Our favorite day.
So great. Jesse Cofield, Travis Eldridge back with you. Week 4 in the books in Major League Lacrosse, and we're starting to put some of these rosters together, the ones that we're going to see at the end of the year, and we're seeing some differences.
Yeah, we're seeing some guys coming in and making huge impacts in just their first and second games. Not an easy thing to do in the MLL.
Seriously, no. And when you look at Atlanta, you have Austin Sims coming in from Princeton. Obviously, the Tigers season came to an end. He was able to score his first MLL career goal, and he helped the Atlanta Blaze get a win here in Boston, one that was starred by Kevin Rice.
Yeah, Kevin Rice kind of had a good game.
Yeah, he had a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
4 goals, 4 assists. It included a 2-pointer. And fun fact about Kevin Rice is that now both of his career 2-point goals are against Boston at Harvard Stadium.
So basically, Harvard Stadium, very good place for Kevin Rice to play.
Yeah,
and you should be aware of that.
He also had some words to say with Brody Merrill at the end of this game, and there after, on the first play when he came around from Exton, Brody gave him a little check
shove?
there. Yeah, and then at the end, he and Brody got into it a little bit.
Oh, just a little talk between guys.
Brody didn't like the fact that Kevin Rice went for the little empty net 2-point goal, which they were only up by 1 at the time, so gives your team some cushion. There's 2-pointers in the league. They could have lost.
Absolutely.
So it deserved, he was going for what he needed to get to.
Absolutely.
But,
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
So 9 points. He was your offensive player of the week in Major League Lacrosse. I think when you look at Atlanta, it seems as though they're starting to turn the corner a little bit. They got the pieces together with the offense with Kevin Rice and Tommy Palasek and Matt Gibson. And then obviously the long stick in Scott Ratliff has been terrific. He had 7 ground balls against Boston. So it seems like for Atlanta, the pieces that we thought were going to come together and work are starting to work well.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you look at Atlanta, one thing, I had a question about after I saw this game. I thought they were able to piece it together. In the end, they got the win. But it was still pretty back and forth against
Boston, who is starting to play better. We'll get to Boston in our next segment.
So that's your defense of
they're coming off a win over Florida on Thursday. They were coming back home feeling good. It was a rainy night, and Atlanta found a way to put up 17 points. I think that's an impressive, solid win for this Blaze team, who now is really sitting in a good spot early in the season when you have teams like New York and Denver sitting there with just 1 win, 1-3 and 1-4. I think they would very much trade with the Blaze with where they are in the standings at the moment.
And the Blaze, actually, this was their 3rd straight win, which, fun fact, is the longest winning streak in franchise history.
They haven't been around for real long, but...
History, I tell you.
History made by the Atlanta
All
Blaze
those
this week.
Years. At least it's,
3.
Multiple years.
3rd year. Hey,
yeah.
3rd year, 3 straight wins for the Atlanta Blaze. It may be a team that, like the Launch did last year, could make their first playoff appearance in team history.
They're blazing hot right now, so,
Did you just come up
Did you
with
see
that?
what I did there?
I did. That was...
I bet you've never heard that one before.
That was pretty bad. So the Atlanta Blaze getting the win over the Boston Cannons this week and taking care of business.
Anybody else to note that we should talk about that we can think of?
And we have, we were waiting for him, and we have Coach Liam Banks now. Coach, why don't we just start off with Kevin Rice? 9 points for you guys. He has that empty netter 2-point goal. How have you seen him fit into this role with a couple of new pieces on that attack unit?
Yeah, Kevin's done a really nice job. I think I mentioned on Press Pass last week that he needed to be a leader for us. And when it didn't show up in the scorebook against the Long Island New York Lizards, the following week it shows up in a 9-point performance. So we've asked him to be the leader of our offense through the exposition, and he's done a really nice job of it.
When you're looking at this game, pretty back and forth there, never a real solid lead during the game, as you say. You managed to get the win, of course. But when it's in those moments, the mental toughness that you got to preach to your guys, what's it been like to see them be able to hold on and get a win like that?
Yeah, I thought our guys did a really nice job of responding. I thought we did a great job in the first half, limiting them. Knew they were going to come back and try and punch us in the face in the second half, and they did. But our guys responded really well to it. When teams go on runs, you need to be able to put a goal, make a stop, win a face-off, and to make sure that those runs don't continue. And I thought we did a nice job in the goal defensively. Thought Scott Ratliff again this week was superb as the LSM. So we stopped some of those runs. We took some punches, and we punched back, which is a really good sign for our team.
Oh, I mean, we're not going to talk about punches, but maybe a little physicality. Got any inside info on what words were exchanged between Kevin Rice and Brody Merrill?
No, I think that Brody likes to let people know he's there, and he's an incredible player, an incredible veteran in this league. But at the end of the game, if you're going to leave the goal open, we're not going to let our attackmen just sit there and get beaten on. If you're going to leave it open, then we're going to throw it in there, or at least when we miss a shot, we have backup. So I think Kevin was simply just trying to kind of stay out of that double team, and I don't think he meant anything bad by it. But Brody let him hear what is about, and it was nice to see some of our guys step up for other players on the field and fight for each other. But once that game's done, I think that everybody's still good friends off the field, and we just move on from here.
Scott Ratliff and Jeff Reynolds obviously doing great stuff for you in the midfield, a lot of transition game. What do you like about how they're playing together and how it's making you guys play a more fast-paced offense?
Yeah, I think you mentioned two names there, but you're forgetting a really important name for us, and that's Justin Pennington. I mean, that rope line between Scott and Justin and Reynolds gives us some security in what we're doing. The guys communicate well. They're veterans. They play well. Both Jeff and Scott get the ball up the field well, and they're just all pretty consistent. So between those three guys, we feel comfortable having them out there, having them cover, and making things happen for us in between the lines.
Speaking of in the midfield, we got our first look at Austin Sims coming out of Princeton, the rookie. What'd you see from him in his MLL debut?
I saw a couple things in the first half, made a couple mistakes, but that's what's going to happen, right? These guys are rookies. It's throwing them out to the wolves here, really, with 1 week off of playing, probably for Princeton coming out to play with us. But the way he responded is the Austin Sims that we drafted and the Austin Sims that we expect to see for the future. Had a couple turnovers the first half, comes back. He bangs a big goal for us. That's a momentum stopper against the Cannons. That's a big goal for us, but it's going to take him a while to get accustomed to the league like any other rookie. But I really enjoyed getting to know him. He's an excellent young man. He's mature. He understands the game of lacrosse, and he's very goal-oriented. So I think that fits in with the type of player, the type of individuals that we want to represent the Blaze.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate the time. Good luck as we look ahead. Glad we got you on. We'll talk again next week.
That sounds great. Appreciate your guys' time. Have a good day.
Speaking of rookies, coming up here on MLL Press Pass, we'll talk with Cannons coach Sean Quirk, what he saw from an explosive MLL debut weekend from Will Sands.
Plus, he's back. Kevin Crowley is set to return for the Hounds. We'll chat with Charlotte coach Jim Stagnita.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
I've been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
LSM in the world right now. Sands backhand score.
Finish here. Slips underneath his defender. And then backhands it past Madelon.
What a debut for former Bucknell standout Will Sands. 6 goals in 2 games for Boston over the weekend, and it's time to welcome in Cannons coach Sean Quirk. Why don't we start right there with your 3rd round draft pick? Could you have asked for a better first couple of games from Mr. Sands?
He made his debut known, which was great to see, and it's great to have him in a Cannons uniform for sure. Certainly had 2 great games for us, and looking forward to what he does next here for sure.
When you look at back to Thursday, obviously you guys, Will helping you get off the schneid here, ending that losing streak. I know, I mean, you're looking forward, whatever, but how positive was the feeling in the locker room after you guys finally got back in the win column here after a losing streak that dated back to last year?
Yeah, you know, the guys, they felt really good about the win. But, you know, the way we played, you know, on both ends of the field, the way we executed on transition and limited Florida's transition, you know, you look back at the game after watching it as well, and they played a complete game, we thought, which we obviously need to continue doing to beat any team in this league. So definitely a step in the right direction, but it was a good team win for sure all around.
Coach, you mentioned the play on both ends of the field. Specifically defensively, you guys held the Launch to a season low, 8 goals. What did you like about how your defense was playing, and what are you going to take from that game as you move forward?
Yeah, you know, I thought our close defense played really well. You know, our long stick middies played really well. You know, the guys that you don't always see out there, those short stick D middies, Matt Bertrams and Challen Rogers and Tim Edwards, who we had activated. Those guys, you know, really played well and allowed our offensive middies to concentrate on playing offense. And that's something that we hadn't really had in any of the previous games. So that was certainly a big factor on that end of the field. And Benny Pugh, you know, played well. He made some big saves when we needed him to. And it was a good effort, certainly, at that end of the field.
All right, so let's talk about some of the transactions you made this week. Let's start with Zed Williams. What was the reasoning in bringing in Zed here in this part of the season?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because Sean Kerwin was on our staff, as you may remember, who coaches at Virginia. And he really, you know, talked to us about Zed last year, and Rochester picked him up. So we always had an interest in him. And then obviously being a Virginia guy and his connection with Coach Starzia, you know, knowing what Zed could bring to the table in terms of toughness and getting the ball off the ground and being able to play midfield and attack. He's one of those versatile players in the league. He's coming off his indoor season, so we know he's pretty polished. So we're looking forward to getting him in a Cannons uniform for sure.
So one of the guys that's no longer on your roster is Ryan Walsh, who was picked up by the Lizards this week. What went through the process where he left the Cannons after you guys traded for him and then ended up back with the Lizards?
Yeah, you know, Ryan's he's just a quality guy. He, you know, he did pretty well for us early on in some of those games. And with having a protected roster of only 25 guys, we ran into a situation the last week or so of having to have 3 goalies on that protected roster because of guys being available and unavailable, and, you know, certainly activating Will Sands and some of those other indoor guys. So we're left in a position to, unfortunately, put them on our practice squad. And we knew what we were obviously opening up ourselves to with another team picking him up. Certainly disappointed that we weren't able to put him back on our active roster, but that's certainly, you know, part of the league and the risk that you take of putting a quality guy and player like him on the practice squad. And I think you're seeing that more and more with more of the teams now, with getting their college draft guys and, you know, certainly indoor guys back. So.
And then we have Tom Moore. You picked him up on Friday. He registers a hat trick in his first game against the Blaze. What did you like about how he played, and moving forward, how do you see him fitting into your offense?
Yeah, he fit in great Saturday night. You know, he was another guy that we were really considering in the supplemental draft and weren't able to get him there. And, you know, he did well in Florida, particularly in a scrimmage, and then he had a goal or two in the game he played. We like the way he plays. He fit in really well into the locker room, you know, just in that 1 week. So he'll be back for us, and we see that, you know, he could certainly help us for a long while here, hopefully.
All right, Coach. Well, it was a busy week for you. Take a deep breath. Get ready for this weekend. We appreciate the time. Thanks.
Thanks, as always. Take care.
Coming up, we'll hang out with the Hounds. How Coach Jim Stagnita spent his off week as the only unbeaten team in the league.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Plus, Chesapeake is feeling the burn. Josh Byrne, that is. The MLL Rookie of the Year made his return and did so in style. We'll chat with Coach Dave Cottle.
Nailed it.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark. Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
All right, welcome back here to Press Pass. Travis and Jesse back with you. The Hounds getting a well-deserved off week after a 4-0 start to the season. Only unbeaten team in Major League Lacrosse so far. Charlotte coach Jim Stagnita is with us now. Coach, just first off, did you get a chance to enjoy the weekend off?
I did. It was gave me an opportunity to go watch, Hopkins play in the NCAA tournament. My son's there, and kind of spend some time with my family for a weekend. So it was nice. It was also nice to kind of be in the position we were in at this point. It's not quite as stressful as it was last year when we were 0-3 at this time.
Coach, it's one of those moments, 4-0, only undefeated team in the league, like we just mentioned. You're on a roll, then you have an off week. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of concern about the chemistry, keeping everybody motivated and on the same page. Have you done anything to address that? Have you been in touch with the guys this week?
Yeah, we're always in touch. Again, great group of guys. I think we really have a neat culture. And, we did. We discussed it and addressed it, kind of immediately after the last game, knowing that we'd have this week off. But, there's the silver lining in all this is that, coming off this break, we have Denver. And so Denver's a team that, not that everyone in this league doesn't get your attention, but, Denver's somebody that certainly gets your attention just because of the, obviously their recent successes and the quality and the history of the program. So, our guys will, and it's obviously a great place to play. So our guys will come in. I think we won't have much of a problem getting their focus on this one.
So I know last year the Crowley situation caused some confusions, but I have to assume you're pretty excited to have that be an issue again as Kevin Crowley has been activated. What does he mean as you try to get him back in the lineup?
Well, he simplified that after about 2 games last year, and he said, "Look, just call me Big Cat." So we've got that figured out in our heads. But he brings experience. He brings personality. He brings he's just got such a great way about it. He's a true professional, and he's a professional lacrosse player in every aspect. He is great with our guys. He's great with our young guys, and he brings a sense of calm. And honestly, he helps me. He and I have a great relationship, and he's I still get a little bit fiery, and obviously you don't do this if you don't want to win games, and I'm not competitive. And he's one of the guys, because he's not one of the young guys who can always kind of give me that, "Hey, Coach Staggs, I got this," or "All right, don't worry about it." And he brings a lot of that to the table. Besides the fact that he's a great player.
Another piece you added, Ben Randall, the defenseman coming out of Ohio State. What do you like about him, and how do you see him fitting into this defense?
Well, it was an area that we wanted to strengthen right from the start. And, we had in the lineup last week, and he performed tremendously for never playing in an MLL game. And, Randall's coming off his regular season. He's in shape here at the end of the year and really played at a high level. He's going to bring a great one-on-one defensive presence to us. I know he comes from a really strong team defensive unit, and Coach Myers is obviously a very good coach who teaches team defense, and he should fit right into what we want to do. And I think the transition can be somewhat seamless because our older guys are so good at integrating these young guys.
So, Coach, after we got off with you last week here on Press Pass, we did some investigative journalism, and we found out that it was indeed Bentley's, the bar that Matt Rambo called you from for in order to pick up Dylan Maltz. When you look at what they've created offensively, how exciting is it to continue to move forward when you know you got a couple of guys who seem to be really excited to play with each other again and are continuing to have a lot of fun together?
Well, I think, Travis, that's the key to all of this, right? If your guys are having fun, it's like any team at any level. If your guys are having fun, if they like each other, if they trust and believe in each other, if someone different steps up when necessary, it takes the pressure off the other guys. And, it makes the travel and it makes the practices worth the while, and it makes the commitment that these guys and the time they put in well worthwhile. So, that's a great point. That's really important, to us. And our guys are excited to get back. And, the Crowleys are excited to get back into the lineup. And, someone like Dylan Maltz is excited to play with these guys. And they're excited to play with someone like Dylan Maltz. So it's, right now we're in a good place, but we also know that it's not going to get any easier. We've only completed what I consider to be season one. But I'm really looking to seeing everybody on Friday night and trying to get back on the field and keep this thing going.
Well, if your season continues the way it's going, I guess we'll have to reach out to Bentley's to see if they'll host,
maybe we get a Matt Rambo jersey up there. A Charlotte Hounds jersey, of course. Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks, and safe travels out to Denver.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Coming up here on Press Pass, the Bayhawks put up an MLL record, 13 points in the third quarter on Sunday. What caused that outburst? We'll talk with Coach Dave Cottle.
Plus, what's up with Rattlers star Jordan Wolf? We'll get the latest injury update from Dallas coach Bill Warder.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Pass in front, score! Fifth goal of the game for Stanwyck. Nick Ocello's going to be seeing that rebound in his nightmares tonight.
Going out on a limb, and I'm just going to say the Bayhawks were likely excited to have Josh Byrne back in the mix this week. Last year's Rookie of the Year, helping Chesapeake get a road win. Coach Dave Cottle joins us now. Coach, why don't we just start with that? How excited are you to get Josh Byrne back in there in the mix this weekend?
Boy, he's a talented offensive player, and he's not only a goal scorer, but he's also a good passer. He's an excellent rider, and he was great off the ground, so he really helped us.
So your team absolutely explodes in the third for 13 goals, including at 1.5 straight. What did you tell them at halftime, Coach? Come on, what was going on in the locker room?
There's got to be some secret sauce.
Oh, there was a lot of great adjustments going on. I will just say this is, we got a good young team. We got some opportunities to run in that game. We have some Poles who can score. And, the field was kind of slick. And so when the Poles shot the ball and bounced it exploded. And we were very fortunate to hit 4 twos because we needed every one of them.
Yeah, that certainly was a big boost for you guys, especially in that third quarter. The other guy we saw really break out was Steele Stanwyck. Just first off, how good is it to see him back in Major League Lacrosse? And I'm assuming you're pretty excited to have him on your side.
Well, he's a coach on the field. He tweaks his groin in pregame warm-up, and all of a sudden we don't even know if he's going to play. He wound up getting it taped and played the way that he did. And he's just a great team guy. One of the reasons why we tried to trade for him. Good with the ball, good without it, excellent feeder, and he doesn't turn it over. He's everything that, as a coach, you appreciate.
Well, if that's with a tweaked groin, I'm going to be scared to see what he'll do if he's completely healthy. That was an impressive performance that he put on. The other guy we saw make his debut for you guys was Sean Mail, the LSM from Denver. What did you see from him in his first game?
Well, these college guys just come in tremendous condition. He was fit. He's been practicing with Denver. Very good off the ground. Good teammate. He's got really good skills. He's another guy who's got 2-point range. And, he in his first pro game, a guy rushes at him, he hitches, dodges, and scores. So I think we have some Poles that are dangerous with the ball in their stick. Now we got to find out if they can cover anybody. And that'll be next week's problem.
Now, Coach, you guys actually set a franchise record for 2-point goals in a game. You had 4 of them, all of them coming off of unsettled opportunities. Have you been preaching to your guys that fast break type of game?
We have. And, you know, I kind of screwed up the training camp. I screwed it up pretty big because we had to fix some things half field wise. And so I didn't do a lot of full field scrimmaging. And it's taken us a couple weeks to be a better full field team. And now I think we are. And we have poles that want to run over the line and be dangerous. And we're giving the first 3 guys over the line have a permission to go. And we're getting a lot more guys hustling over the line for transition.
So there was so much good for you guys out in Denver. You put up 24 points. You get the road win. But you still gave up 22. What kind of concerns do you have defensively from that game and from Nico Amato in goal that he got the start there this past weekend?
Well, I don't think we gave Nico a chance. I think it was one of those games that once it got going early, that all the offensive guys felt like they were going to have a good day. Drew Snyder had 6. I think Kyler Balestri had 4. And we've got to do a better job on the defensive end. But it was one of those games that was like full field scramble. And to be quite honest with you, we haven't been able to win those real high scoring games in the last couple of years. So that was a real positive sign for us.
Your rookie faceoff guy, Stephen Kelly, he had 26 faceoffs for you guys right there at the X. What did you like about how he was playing, and how do you see him fitting in as you move forward?
Well, not only, you know, I think John Danowski at Duke had an interesting philosophy. He said, if we can win 55% of our faceoffs and take back 1 of the 10 that we lose, we become a 65% faceoff team. And I bet you of the ones we lost, we probably got 8 or 10 of them back in that game because Steven is relentless. So not only is he winning the draw and picking it up, I think he had 14 ground balls, but when we lose them, we get some of them back. And I think he's an outstanding competitor. And if I thought he was going to be the leading faceoff percentage guy in the league at this point, I'd be lying. So we're very, very excited that he's given us a chance while we've been struggling offensively to try to get it under our feet and become a better team.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Greg Cannella from UMass about that earlier this year, and he said the same thing. It's like, look, if we lose the faceoff, we can stop them from scoring or take a couple of back in the unsettled situation. It's essentially like a win. It may not go down in the stats, but it works out for you as a team. I have to imagine having a guy like Isaiah Davis-Allen along the wings has to help that situation.
Well, obviously you watched the game because he was outstanding on the wing. I think he had 9 ground balls on the wing. You know, he has been the best wing guy that we've had in a while, and now we go against probably the best wing guy that's ever played in the MLL, and Brody Merrill. So it'll be a great challenge for IDA, and you know we have a ton of respect for Boston and their players, and it's going to be a tough game for us.
Coach, just one final pretty important question for you. Are you sticking by it? Is it Yanni or Laurel?
I'm all in with Laurel. I'll tell you that. All in.
Team Laurel. I guess it's you
I'm
two
with Coach
versus
Cottle.
me.
It's Laurel because we hear the right thing.
Okay.
It's not Yanni.
Allegedly.
Anyway, Coach, appreciate the time. We'll catch up with you when you're up here in Boston. Enjoy and safe travels.
Thanks so much.
And you can see the Bayhawks in action here this weekend on Lac Sports Network. Chesapeake traveling up here to Boston to take on the Cannons in Hingham. A little road home game for
Very
Boston
exciting.
up here in New England. Game time set for 6 p.m. Eastern time, only here on LSN.
Coming up, Dallas got off to a great start in Ohio. What went wrong? We'll ask head coach Bill Warder.
And sneaky Snyder. Drew got fancy for the Outlaws. He is a model after all. We'll talk to head coach B.J. O'Hara about his big performance.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
12 win against the Boston Cannons. And on the first shot of the game, and a goal just like that, Mike Manny, the long pole out in front, made a great spin and able to get the shot past Kyle Bernlohr.
Spinning and winning for Rattlers pole Mike Manley, but Ohio, too much in the second half for this Dallas team, the defending champions, beating the Rattlers on Saturday night at Fortress Obetz. We've got Rattlers coach Bill Warder with this now. And Coach, I think probably the most pressing issue was Jordan Wolf's health. He left there after a high hit in the first quarter. How is he feeling now, and what's his status for you guys moving forward?
Yeah, I think, Jordan feels great. He back on the horse, on the saddle. So no issues going forward.
Now, in the third, that machine offense, came alive. They had 7 goals for you guys. In moments like that, looking back as a coach, what do you have to do to get your guys to stop the bleeding in a situation like that?
Yeah, this, the league is a game of runs, and it's something I'm sure every team talks about it. We talk about it, get on a run or stop a run. And so, in that run, we were winning the faceoff. We just couldn't get possession after the faceoff with the long pole scooping up the ball, or really the attack coming up and supporting the ball. Ohio, to give them credit, they did a very good job of stretching to make it hard for us to get the ball. They did a good job on that, and we just couldn't stop a run by getting a faceoff.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I felt like the game kind of changed a little bit at the end of the first half when you had those 3 straight Marcus Holman goals. Is that where you felt like the tides began to shift in this one?
It was a weird game. The energy of the game was, back and forth a little bit, and he made a couple nice. It's classic Ohio machine. They have a pretty good set offense where they kind of alley dodge, bang it to X, swing it around, then they hit Holman, front swinging someone. It's a set play, it's coming, or it looks like a set play, and it's coming, and it's hard to stop. He's very good at that, and he's a good shooter, and you have to know where he is, and but it was still a really close game until that middle of the third quarter where they opened it up a little bit.
Back quickly to Jordan Wolf. With him out of the game, how did that kind of change what you wanted to do offensively, knowing, he is the guy that you can give the ball to behind the cage and just let him work?
Well, there was a good, a bad, obviously, situation where you don't have your, one of the best players in the league initiating and taking control of the game. At the same time, Ohio, I'm sure, put their whole game plan on how do we stop Jordan Wolf, right? So when we put someone else in there, they actually abandoned their game plan a little bit. They didn't do the same thing defensively. So, Jack Curran came in. You saw the goal from him right there. Jack came in and did a good job just distributing the ball. So the game definitely changed both what they were trying to do defensively and how we were attacking it offensively. Jordan's probably a difference maker in that game, for sure. But they changed the way they played us, and we changed the way we attacked them offensively. Jack Curran did a great job coming in, and those are gigantic shoes to fill. So, and he scored 2 goals, did a pretty good job.
Yeah, Jordan may not have a gigantic feat because he's a relatively short guy, but very, very big shoes to fill when you look at what he produces on the field. Speaking of difference makers, you activate Randy Stotts, Zach Greer, John Rannigan, and Jesse King all this week. That has to make you smile. What's it going to mean to get some of those guys back in the lineup?
Hey, forgot about Joel White as well.
Sorry, I missed another guy.
So it's that's huge. It's I think we were talking last week. It's kind of one of those, hey guys, good luck this weekend. Hope you win. And to be honest with you, we're sitting in after we lost to Ohio, and to then trying to figure you just got to flush it and move on and think about next week, and then all of a sudden to say, okay, hey, we got Joel White back, and Randy, and a couple of the key players that have been with us for a long time. Joel's just a menace at the midfield, the face-off, wings, transition. He's the heart and soul of this team. So having Joel White back is incredible, along with the other guys. Just incredible to have them, full speed and full power.
Speaking of looking ahead, you're facing the Blaze next. They're on a 3-game winning streak right now. As you look ahead to that game and thinking about what you need to do to neutralize some of those guys, what's sort of the idea going into that? How are you going to attack it?
Kevin Rice is the guy he played in Rochester. We drafted him originally, and he's a very dynamic player. The heart of that team as well. They have some good young midfielders. They pretty good in transition. Obviously they're hot. They're feeling, I'm sure, pretty good. Good win the other night. But Kevin's a player, definitely the quarterback of that offense, along with some of the other guys they've had that are contributing. But you got to figure out how to stop Kevin Rice first, and then move on from there. So that that's priority number one. Take him out of the game.
Coach, finally, before we let you go, with all those new pieces added to this roster, and a couple of them are guys that haven't played with this exact Rattlers crew in a year or so, how do you feel like all those new pieces will fit in?
Well, you look back and, John Randigan, Joel White, Jordan McIntosh, Randy Stotts even. Those guys have been, with us for years and years and years. And so from a, locker room culture standpoint, it's like that first day back at school. You're like, oh, there's my best friend that I haven't seen all summer. And it's, there's certainly a huge energy to that, a leadership component to it. The similarity, these guys have played, a lot of, 50 games together. So it's not like they're unknowns that aren't, don't know the ins and outs of each other's style. And, I imagine it'll click. There's always that obviously first game adjustment and, first, new barn, we're playing for those guys. It's their first experience in the Ford Center. Definitely a lot of excitement surrounding the game. And I know these guys have, talking to them on Saturday night and Sunday, really excited to make this happen.
Getting the gang back together.
Bringing the band back together. Yeah.
Hey, that's what it's all about. Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck here this weekend.
Thanks. Great.
We'll see if the Rattlers can bounce back this week as Dallas hosts Atlanta right here on Lac Sports Network on Saturday. Game time for that one, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central down there in Dallas. It's only here on LSN.
As for now, up next on Press Pass, now 1-4, find out how Outlaws coach B.J. O'Hara is feeling entering Week 5.
And the Launch have Kieran McCardle back full-time, but they couldn't get the win on Thursday night. We'll ask Coach Tom Mariano about trying to respond.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Kavanaugh gets the pass off and scores. Drew Snyder having himself a day. That's 4 goals for Snyder.
Snyder is so good at using his stick to his advantage, and look how he just increases his angle by just flipping it over his right shoulder.
It isn't often you put up 22 points and lose, but that's what happened for Denver at home on Sunday. The Outlaws now 1-4 on the season. We've got Coach B.J. O'Hara with us now. Coach, let's just start with the obvious. You give up 24 points. Obviously, the 13 in the third quarter really hurt. What do you try to do now defensively, trying to move off that game against the Bayhawks?
Well, my first thought is it must have been a heck of a halftime talk to give up 13 in the third quarter. But, we're frustrated. We just haven't found consistency at either end of the field. We didn't do a good job on the offense the week before. We found our offense, but really had trouble stopping the Bayhawks. Obviously, that's an understatement. It's frustrating when we scored more goals than they did, but those 4 2-pointers, they hurt.
Kyler Balestri making his debut for you guys. He had 4 goals. You said we got the offensive piece going. What did you like about how he was playing and how he was working off of Drew Snyder?
He brought what we hoped he would, and he scored in different ways. He scored off ball. He dodged for a nice goal on an inside roll. He took a pass on the run and put it away. So we're really excited about having him in the mix, and I think it's only going to get better as he gets more used to playing with his teammates.
Is it safe to say that he's kind of secured, at least for now, that third attack spot that you guys have been looking for?
Yes, absolutely. If it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So that's not a worry anymore.
That's fair enough. The other guy who had a gigantic game for you guys is Drew Snyder. We're used to seeing him out of the midfield, coming up from up top, throwing in a couple of 2-pointers, doing whatever. We saw some nifty work around the crease from him. How impressed were you with his game?
Yeah, Drew's an incredible athlete, and unfortunately, we did not have him for the Florida game, and we obviously missed him. We didn't have a lot of punch on offense. So having him back in the lineup and leading the way like that is a huge lift for us. Hopefully we'll have him every game the rest of the way. Touch wood.
So when you look ahead here this week, you've got Charlotte visiting. They're currently the top team in Major League Lacrosse, still unbeaten. at 1-4, how important is this game for you guys to try to at least get some momentum moving in the right direction, knowing it's at home?
Oh yeah, I mean, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. You know, we're 1-4, and you know, we can't let the other teams get too far ahead of us. You know, we got to be able to hold on and keep up, and this could be a big step in that direction should we have a good result.
After a game like the one you just played where you got burned on a couple of those 2-point goals at the end when all was said and done, what are you doing to address that issue, some of those fast break plays defensively?
Well, obviously, it often starts at the other end or coming out of the middle of the field, face off or whatever. We just got to remind guys that we got to do a better job of getting back, but also engaging the ball, earlier than, we got inside the arc and just didn't do a very good job of stepping out and making a play, making contact. We're going to have the same issue this week. Charlotte's got some really, really tough shooters from distance, so we got to really have our heads on straight and get back, but also get out and finish the play.
I think it's so interesting in this league because it's something that you don't see anywhere else in lacrosse with that 2-point line. How much, especially when somebody's hit 1 or 2 on you, how much do you try to adjust what you do defensively on knowing that, well, you know what, that one's worth twice as much if they can hit it from there? How much is that in the back of your head when you're trying to figure out a game plan or make adjustments?
Well, it's something that occurs organically. I don't think too many teams, unless they're in desperate need at the end, try to set up a 2-point shot very often. So it's more an awareness thing, making your guys aware that they've got some shooters with range, and we've got to get out and meet them earlier, and either get in front of it or dissuade them from shooting it. It's I used to, I've always been a big proponent of the 2-point shot. I love it. I wasn't so fond of it on Sunday night, though.
Yeah, sometimes it works. And when you have guys like Snyder and Sieverts, it usually works in your favor. Unfortunately, that was not the case this weekend. Coach, we appreciate the time, and good luck here this weekend at home as you get Charlotte.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
Things, as we mentioned, they don't get any easier here for Denver. They welcome in the top team in Major League Lacrosse, the undefeated Charlotte Hounds, coming to the Mile High City on Saturday. Opening face-off set for 9 p.m. Eastern time. That's 7 p.m. In Outlaws country. That's the western part, whatever that time zone is.
Mountain time.
Yeah, I was there last week. I swear I remember it. The game is only here on Lac Sports Network.
Coming up on Press Pass, it's okay, Travis, take a breath. The Launch are looking to bounce back as well. Hear what went wrong for Florida on Thursday against Boston.
Plus, it was a bye week for the Lizards, one of 2 over the course of 3 weeks. I could use one of those. How does Coach Joe Spallina feel about that in the schedule? Blast is coming up.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Try to draw a double or get to the cage.
McArdle working it with one hand and blasts it home. Watch this. Yeah, incredible.
McArdle's back, but the Launch couldn't grab the win on Thursday. Coach Tom Mariano joining Jesse and I here on Press Pass. Coach, you guys held to just 9 goals in that game. What was Boston able to do against your offense, or was it just a cold night?
I think, whenever you play a game like that, you obviously got to credit Boston for their game plan and how they played. I thought they made some good plays, and I thought we had some opportunities that we didn't cash in on, and we didn't, play, I think, to our potential at times.
And speaking offensively for you guys, Kieran McArdle back with you with this team. How long do you feel like it takes a guy like Kieran to adjust back to the outdoor game after playing indoors for a season?
Kieran can do what Kieran does. He's a great player. I don't think it wasn't necessarily about Kieran. I didn't think we did a great job as kind of teammates of playing with him. That's something we need to be better at. That's a focus this week of being better at playing with Kieran.
Dylan Malloy held to a relatively low-scoring night, not what we've been used to seeing from him. Do you think that they had adjusted their defense to really focus on Dylan Malloy specifically? I know he had a pretty quiet night for you guys, and if so, how do you adjust off of that?
Well, I think, if you look at it, I mean, I think it was a combination of what they did, a combination of what we did. We had a quiet night in general. I mean, I thought Dylan actually played really well. He had some nice goals. He had some nice looks we didn't finish on. We just need to be better as a team on offense.
I think one of the bright spots came for you guys at the faceoff X. Ben Williams going up against Joe Nardella wins about 50%. I mean, for him to be that good against a guy who's probably one of the better faceoff guys in the league, that's got to give you a good feeling, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Ben has been great. Ben is kind of a great teammate, a great guy. He's exactly what we needed when we traded for him. And I think to go and have success against Joe Nardella, who I think the world of, just the fact that he's playing off an ACL and playing really well, I think Ben certainly gave us opportunities to compete and win the game on Sunday.
In terms of, Coach, in terms of ground balls, Boston have the edge over you guys on that one. Seemed to be a little bit scrappier than you guys out there. Was that something you were talking to your guys about, fighting for all of those ground balls, fighting for those 50-50 moments?
I mean, honestly, I thought Boston was really hungry. I think that guy, number 17, Brody Merrill, had a big part of that. I think if you get in a one-on-one with 17, that usually doesn't go your way very often. But I just thought, honestly, Boston wanted it more on the ground balls and out-hustled us and out-worked us for ground balls consistently throughout the game.
Yeah, he's a decent guy to have to try to go against. He's not like a legend in this game or anything like that. When we look ahead, you have New York coming to your place, and you continue to stay at home when you look ahead to next weekend. How important is it to close out this homestand you guys have with a couple of wins?
Oh, I think it's huge. I think, listen, every game in this league is basically a playoff game. It's a mini playoff game. And I think the fact that we've been at home a ton has allowed us to get into a routine. We want to execute and be successful at home. We've had really good crowds. We've had a lot of support from the fans. So that's been huge. And we obviously want to continue to play a way that they want to support.
I mean, you mentioned every game's a playoff game, and that's certainly so with how few games you have and so few teams in the league fighting for so few playoff spots. But when you certainly look at New York and you see them, a team that expects to be toward the top of the league, sitting toward the bottom, how much do you talk to your guys about, hey, remember what Boston came in and how hungry they were? Well, New York is going to be just as hungry to get a win here.
Well, I think if you don't know that about the teams, this league isn't for you. Every guy is hungry. Every team is hungry. And, we've got to have that same standard, which, we've been pretty good about. I wouldn't say we've been consistent this year, but we're typically pretty good on that. And our guys when they don't play that way, they do a good job of bouncing back. So I'm excited to see this weekend.
Jules Henningberg, the standout from Rutgers, we going to see him out there playing for you?
100% he will be out there. We're excited to have Jules. I'm not going to do what all these other guys do and say, well, maybe. Jules is going to play. We're excited to what he's going to bring to the table. And he's just he's a great player. But he, kind of getting to know him the last couple of weeks, really, great teammate, great character. He's super excited to suit up for the launch, and we're super excited to get him out there.
I know you're a big Twitter guy and a big GIF guy. So the real question going on social media right now, is it Laurel or Yanni?
What Coach Cotter?
He said Laurel.
Coach Cotter. We'll go Laurel.
All right, Laurel.
Right.
See, Jesse, you are crazy.
Okay, that's what the voices in my head tell me.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's Yanni.
Yeah, it's Laurel. Hey, Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck here against New York this weekend.
All right, thanks, guys.
Still to come here on Press Pass. The always hyped up Lizards coach Joe Spallina joins us as New York looks to bounce back after a bye.
Plus, what did machine coach Bear Davis see from rookie faceoff man Kenny Massa? He joins us to wrap things up.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
Welcome back here to MLL Press Pass, taking a look at the updated MLL standings. The Hounds coming off that bye week, sitting comfortably in first place at 4-0. You got the Blaze and Machine chasing after them. You got a whole mix of teams with 2 losses when you look at the Rattlers launch and Bayhawks. And then you got a couple of teams needing some wins here as we look ahead, including New York. So as we look at the Lizards, they're coming off a bye week, sitting at the bottom part of these standings. Head coach Joe Spallina is joining us now. Coach, let's just start off. You're sitting at 1-3. It's not where you probably expected to be. How important is this game this weekend?
Yeah, it's a big game, no doubt. Obviously, we're playing against a great opponent, with Florida and a playoff team from last year. But I'm excited, for our guys to get back out there together. I think we've done a little bit of healing over the last, got everybody's attention. The fact that we are 1-3, and the last game was a tough one. It was a tough one to swallow even now. We had a game that, we really dominated across the board, but, they hit some timely shots and, they were able to pull off the victory with them hitting 3 2-pointers. So, but we get a chance to get back at it this weekend, and we get, a chance to heal up some guys, and we need this one.
Coach, going into a bye week, coming off a loss, can be tough for the chemistry of a team. What have you been doing to keep the guys motivated? Have you been in touch with them? And what's the message going into this weekend?
Yeah, actually, right before you guys, I got on with you guys, I was actually just on the phone with a couple guys. Just trying to get everybody, it's not time to panic. It's just time for us to go out and play the way we're capable of playing. So, last week we got Matt Landis into the lineup, which was, he was unbelievable what he did to really land his attack, especially Rice. That was his main matchup. Again, I think we're getting most of the pieces there. Obviously, we have all our college guys are still alive and well in the NCAA tournament. But the biggest thing is not to panic, but just to kind of, shore up some areas that we've had some shortcomings in. And one of the things has been allowing a player on the other team to get into a groove. So we have to do a better job of adjusting on the fly and, as a defense and kind of knowing where the biggest threats are.
Coach, you've kind of reached an interesting part of your schedule because you have the bye week last week, you play here on Saturday, and then you're off again Memorial Day weekend. So much of this league is trying to find the continuity and the consistency, and you don't seem to have it in this stretch. How difficult is that for your team to be able to try to get in a groove here when you're struggling early on?
It's tough, and the league has done us no favors now. It's 2 years in a row. We play out at Denver on Friday and then have to come home and play a Sunday afternoon game, against Atlanta. And conversely, like a team like Atlanta has played, teams on the back end of doubles 2 weeks in a row. So that certainly helps, for them. But, it's something where, it is tough. But when you got to look at this game and you got to separate this game and kind of now look so much, this is a game where we can feel good about ourselves for 2 weeks, and start to build on something, knowing that after this week we'll have a lot of our rookies in, and we'll have a chance to even, be better. But we can't lose. This is one that we got to try to win and stop the bleeding and get back on track and get ourselves back in the middle of the playoff race.
Coach, you mentioned talking about the launch, knowing who their threats were. Dylan Malloy, obviously a huge one for them. When they played Boston, it looked like Boston focused heavily on shutting down Malloy. We saw that launch offense really sputter without him leading the way for them. Is he going to be a focus for you guys as you go into this game?
Their attack is great, so you have Kieran McCardle, who's always, he's been a lizard killer, and then obviously you got Dylan Malloy, you got 2 Long Island guys there, right? So you have those guys, and you have, the Rutgers kid, I'm sure there's a chance you could see him this weekend, their first-round pick. And Ryan Drenner is, another dynamic attackman that can do different things. So they pose a real threat there. I would imagine they'll be without Connor Busick, who's with Cornell still in the NCAAs, so we dodge a bullet there. But I think the biggest thing for us is, we feel really good about our close defense. So we have to win that matchup there with our 3 versus their 3, and then our midfielders have to be able to do their jobs as well. But, as far as strength versus strength, we think, we can match up there, and it's a matter of our guys going out and executing because they certainly, send three, extremely dangerous players at it, as their attack.
So in the midfield, you guys had traded Ryan Walsh this offseason as part of that Matt Landis deal with Boston. Boston puts him on the practice squad here this week. What made you guys want to go get him again?
I love Walsh. I didn't want to trade him to begin with, but he had an opportunity to get Landis and give us, another number one defenseman, which really tough to find in this league. And Ryan's local, so he lives on Long Island. So, the biggest, for me, I try to get as many local MLL caliber players as we can on our team. So, we're looking right now. We're just trying to find that fourth midfielder for us, and fifth midfielder for us. So, we're looking to look at some different guys this week, and Ryan is a matchup issue. So, also gives us a little insurance if something is to happen. If one of our guys gets banged up on the attack, because he's certainly comfortable down there as well. But it was an opportunity to add, a high caliber player without giving up anything. And in this league, if you can compile talent, sometimes you could move it around to different places, or because we certainly got to get better. So whether it be by internal improvement, where all getting a little better, if a trade opens up that makes sense for us, these are all the things that I need to make sure that I have as many options as possible.
Trader Joe always making moves.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, we have one more question. Pretty controversial.
Ooh.
Coach, is it Yanni or Laurel?
Well, you guys ducked out. Can you say that again?
Oh, yeah. Is it Yanni or Laurel?
Who? Yay or what?
We thought
I can't
for
believe
sure.
your girls at Stony Brook didn't get you on social media with the big controversy.
You got to tell your girls at Stony Brook they have let you down. There's the internet sensation, Yanni or Laurel.
It's an audio clip. You need to go listen to it.
Just ask them about it.
Listen, I'm just trying to beat Boston College this week. That's all I can do right now.
Oh, man.
So we're just a little 5 seed going up there, a little Northeast team, just trying to do the best we can.
Hey, Coach, everybody loves an underdog.
Oh, man. Shots fired. Coach, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
You can see the Lizards back in action on Saturday night on the road in Boca Raton. New York takes on the Launch starting 7:30 Eastern Time. You can see it right here on LAC Sports Network. It's live and then also available afterward on demand.
Up next, we poke the bear after the Machine finished the 3-game homestand to start the season with a victory. We're talking to Ohio next.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
And on the restart, Ambler works it back in behind, and that goes in.
6 seconds on the shot clock. You make a hard move like that. Go with your backhand, lefty falling down. Outstanding move by Ryan Ambler.
The Machine just keep on working. Ohio bouncing back from loss number 1 with a win to finish up the 3-game homestand at 2-1. Coach Bear Davis joining us now on Press Pass. Coach, let's start with Marcus Holman, because the end of that first half, he goes on another one of those Holman runs. What is it about him when he starts feeling it in stretches where at this point, he scored 3 in a row?
Yeah, there's no question that Marcus has the ability to figure out, some things within his shooting game and make some adjustments. And, John Galloway, obviously, arguably the best goalie or one of the best goalies in the world, and he made some great saves, early and especially on Marcus and made him work for his shots. And he's the type of goalie that makes shooters think about their shots a little bit more and maybe take shots that they force them to not take shots that they normally would. I think Marcus is shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot, and that's okay with us. I mean, we need him shooting the ball for our offense to work. So just made some good adjustments.
Yeah, when he's feeling it, just let him go. Just, heat check left and right. What changed for you guys in that third quarter in your mind that allowed you guys to kind of pull away from Dallas?
A big part of it was just possessions. I think that we need to make sure that we're getting the ball in the hands of playmakers it's tough to do. When we're not clearing the ball well, we're not getting ground balls, we're not winning faceoffs, and I thought our faceoff unit, Kenny and the unit started feeling a little bit more and scrapping and getting us the ball a couple more times. And really, that's I don't think there was any major adjustments other than just volume of touches and guys feeling comfortable.
I'm glad you mentioned Kenny Massa. He made his MLL debut here. What did you notice from him in a spot where you guys have consistently been trying to find that consistent guy?
Well, we gave up a goal within the first maybe 10 seconds of the game off the face-off, and I said, well, it's like, welcome to the league, young man. And that's just something you got to let them, I know he's a competitor. We've watched him, a ton on film, and he's just such a scrapper, and he's a great athlete. And, I didn't say a word to him, because I just figured let him figure it out, let him figure it out on his own. And because, that's what sometimes guys need to do. And I felt like he did. He battled through. He made some adjustments. And more importantly, he's just scrappy. Even the ones where we didn't necessarily win the draw, he battled. He's an incredible athlete and probably one of the more athletic face-off guys I've ever seen. And our wing play was incredible. And at times you see even where our attack and our defense get involved after the possession and force turnovers and get us the ball.
Coach, when you look back on a game like that and you're trying to move forward as the weeks go on, after that first quarter down 3-1, what's the message to the guys about not getting yourselves in a hole early?
Yeah, it's obviously not planned. You don't want to be down and trying to figure things out. But I think this team has seen we have some incredido leaders, and we've been down. And I think just not pushing that panic button, knowing what works for us and how do we find, how do we get back on track? We take, we take every possession, dissect it a little bit and notice if it's working for us or not working for us. Spend a lot of time watching this game and taking notes and saying, hey, next game out, these are the things that work for us and these are the things that don't. And keep it simple. I think you don't want to overcomplicate things. It's game 3. It is only a 14-game season, so you got to figure some things out quick. But also, you want to make sure you're not, pushing the panic button.
We were talking to Rattlers coach Bill Warder earlier here in the show, and he was talking about when Jordan Wolf went out with that injury early on, how you guys changed defensively. How key is that to your group that has been together now for several years and has consistently been great, their ability to be able to quickly change a game plan and then still be effective?
Yeah, Jordan is such a special player, and all 6 guys, all 7 guys have to know, where he is all the time when he's on the field, and he can make guys lose track of what their assignment, actually is. And with him not in there, he is such a quarterback and does allow our guys to play a little bit more freely, be a little bit more aggressive and really pay attention to what their task is within the defense. And that's just a hard tribute to Jordan, who has, done very well against us, I felt like we were playing pretty good against them up to that point. And I'm sure, we'll come across them again.
So, Coach, back in the win column, feeling good. Now you head into a bye week. Then you got a rematch with undefeated Charlotte. How do you keep your guys focused during this bye week when you're not going to be together and not going to keep that team momentum going?
Yeah, the bye week's always tricky. It's good in the sense that guys can get healthy. We have a couple guys banged up who have not been in the lineup, and some guys that have been in the lineup. So I know we've only had 3 games, but they've been pretty physical games for us. But we, with some of the technology that we use, obviously with the film and just team communication lines and just talking to guys on the phone, we have the ability now to really take the week and dissect some individual game and talk to guys. And tomorrow we got a captain's call. We'll catch up with those guys and we'll have the opportunity to talk about everything. You know, how we're handling the home games, the schedules, the team communication, just any area where we can get better. You know, we'll examine that here in this the week that we have, because we know right after this we got a slew of games, you know, right in a row. We're not going to have that kind of time necessarily to evaluate those things, especially the things that are off the field.
Quickly, we only got 30 seconds, but have you heard the audio recording? Is it Yanni or Laurel?
I don't understand where people are hearing Laurel at all.
Whoa!
Thank you, Coach.
Oh, man, I like you, Barry.
Thank you.
Laurel is 100% wrong.
Who's crazy now, Travis?
Oh, man. Well, on that note, we have to say goodbye. Barry, we appreciate the time. For Jesse Cofield, I'm Travis Eldridge. Enjoy the games this week.
Thank you.